Do you want your gameplay to stop looking like this? Are you tired of eating Insta-Charges every single hunt? Well, what if I told you that not only can you be completely immune to the Insta-Charge, not only can you play better, you're also going to be able to control the Yian Kut-Ku. This guide is going to teach you how to trigger every move that Kut-Ku can do, and how to counter all of them. I also promised that you could learn to control the monster, but how do you do that? Well, there's two things: range and direction. Direction is easy. If you're already in front of Kut-Ku, he can start attacking instantly. But if you're behind him, he's gonna have to look at you before attacking. And there are a few exceptions to this, but we'll talk about them later. So what about range? You see, monsters are also pretty smart, and they're gonna use moves that can actually hit you where you stand. If you're far, Kut-Ku uses long-range attacks, and if you're near, Kut-Ku uses short-range attacks. So technically, you can control which moves Kut-Ku can do by standing either near or far. Each move has a different hitbox, and so they have different ranges in which they get picked. But we can simplify it to 3 ranges. We have long range, mid-range, and short range. Starting with the short range, what move should you watch out for? What move can you punish? Well, Yian Kut-Ku can do a lot of moves in short range, but the ones you always want to keep in mind are the tailspin and the wing flap. Let's talk about the tailspin first, because Kut-Ku can do it after every move without having to turn to you. And if you're not ready, well... But there's a trick to it. You can make yourself completely immune to not only his tailspin, but also from every single move Kut-Ku has. And that is simply by staying in this area. See, Kut-Ku's tailspins always rotate counterclockwise, so to avoid it, you go counterclockwise with him. So as long as you stay in this area, you will never get hit. This goes great for wing snipers, but what about hammers and hunting horns? Well, you can just roll to the right, or simply walk out of reach. Here's something useful to know. Kut-Ku's tailspin comes in 2 swings, and each one covers less than half a circle, meaning the attack never fully wraps around him. You can use this knowledge to snipe the head as he spins. Tailspin is by far his most used attack in close range, so if you master this move, you've basically already mastered Kut-Ku. But to add even more to his suffering, let's talk about the wing flap. The wing flap also usually comes without a turn, and sometimes after a fast one. He uses it to back away from you, but it has a massive flaw. It completely exposes his wings for a split second, and of course we're gonna happily exploit that. It's hard to miss because the hurt box is big. All you have to do is be ready to hit, because the wind-up animation is quick, and if you're not expecting it, you can't punish it in time. This does so much damage to Kut-Ku that it's not even rare for you to get clips like this. Just keep in mind to use moves that have wind resistance, like the SNS Jump Slash or the DS Demon Mode. Or, once Kut-Ku has detected you in short range, you can run far enough so that the wind doesn't reach you. But this begs the question, when do you get detected? Listen closely, because this is exactly how you control the monster. Monsters detect you and record your position the moment their attack animation ends, right before they start turning. Every time his charge animation ends, you get detected. Every time his taunt animation ends, you get detected. So, to make Kut-Ku spam his wing flap move, you want to get detected in short range. And once you do, and you see him raise his wings, now you're ready to snipe it. You can apply all of this to his hover move too, but I find that the hover move is easier to punish as it ends. Kut-Ku only has access to wing flap and hover in short range, so as a blade master, you always want to be near the bird so that he does these moves more often. So we see that Kut-Ku picks different moves based on our distance and the kind of turn he does. In short range, Kut-Ku's go-to instant move is a tailspin, and his usual fast turn move is a wing flap. But what about a slow turn? What move should we expect? Well, that's a bit rare, but on the off chance that he does a slow turn, it's usually just followed by a fireball. Or if he's in rage mode, it's 4 fireballs or Pecks. But remember, none of these attacks can hit you if you stay in this area. You can even counterattack from there. Okay, I made this chart to summarize which moves Kut-Ku can do after any kind of turn at any range for both inside and outside of Rage mode. I put the most common moves at the top of each cell so you know which ones to expect the most. And if you notice, in Rage mode he can also charge at point blank and without turning. This is the so-called Insta-Charge, and it's the reason why you should never be in his face when he's about to finish a move in Rage mode. Let me repeat that. If there's anything you want to remember from this video, it's to never be in Kut-Ku's face when he's just about to finish a move in Rage mode. Now before we move on to mid-range, I want to talk about the run and bite attack. There's a really neat trick you can do, and it's another reason for melee users to always stay near Kut-Ku. So what's the trick? Well, if you're basically touching Kut-Ku's beak, the turn part of this attack won't even start. It'll just look like this. After that, you just back up a bit so that the bite part whiffs and you get a free hit, like so. Now that we can control Yian Kut-Ku in close range, let's go over to mid-range. Earlier we mentioned that Kut-Ku's moveset changes in Rage mode. And here in mid-range, it's even more prevalent because in normal mode, he loves shooting fireballs, while in Rage mode, he pretty much just spams, charge, or Peck attacks. But here's the problem. These attacks seemingly have no opening, so if Kut-Ku uses them all the time, how do we deal damage to Kut-Ku in mid-range? Let's start with normal mode and his fireball barrage. For gunners, this is actually a blessing, because the thing is, Kut-Ku cannot shoot very far, but you can. Gunners can just stand there and outrange him. You can even outrange his Peck, and his lunge Peck just goes over you, so you don't have to worry about those. And shooting the head is the biggest damage you can do out of all the weapons. Even with the starter heavy bowgun, you can stagger him in just 2 shots. Look at that. But before you mindlessly mash your circle button, keep in mind that he can Insta-Charge even in normal mode. So make sure to be ready to roll aside when that happens. Speaking of charges, what about Rage mode, where charge is pretty much all he does? In this mode, whenever you're in front or whenever he turns quickly to you, you should always expect him to charge. So, are gunners just forced to wait until he calms down? Well, no. For bows and light bowgun, you can punish his turn animation. Remember earlier when we said, but if you're behind him, he's gonna look at you before attacking. You just bait him to look at a spot, and then you reposition to avoid the possible charge, and then you shoot his face as he turns to you. You gotta be quick though. You need to anticipate where Kut-Ku's head will be at the moment it stops turning, so that you can shoot it just before he attacks. Now for bowguns, what do? Well, you're not forced to only shoot the head. The wing has good hit zones too. And this applies to melee enjoyers as well. As you can see, Kut-Ku trips and falls after every charge. It's a small opening, but an opening nonetheless. But charging isn't the only thing he can do in Rage mode at mid-range. If you see him turning slowly, there's a high chance he's gonna do 4 fireballs. The 4 fireballs always go in this direction and in this order. This move is the one time that it's safe to stay in front of Kut-Ku during Rage mode. We've only discussed gunners in mid-range so far, but Blade Masters often end up here too when caught out of position. Just remember that when Kut-Ku throws a fireball, his head lowers down for a bit, and you know what to do with that. So to recap the mid-range, for slow turns, expect fireballs and shoot the head. For fast turns and instants, always anticipate a charge. Stay out of the attack's path, and you can punish him when he trips over. He pecks a lot here too, but it's very fast and hard to counter without risking your position. Only a few moves left, and then we can apply all our openings in a real hunt. Let me start this section by saying, nobody wants to be in long range. Not you, not me, and not even Kut-Ku. Why? Because you can't damage Kut-Ku this way, and vice versa. That's why every time you step into long range, Kut-Ku always closes the gap by gliding over to you. The glide attack is hard to counter because he's up in the air and moving very quickly. It can be done, but it's mostly for fun clip farming instead of reliable, consistent gameplay. Generally, the glide attack isn't so dangerous because you only get hit by dust and wind. But if you run far enough, you can actually get hit by his claws. Another reason to stay out of long range is the World Tour move. This is where he takes to the sky, feeling like a Rathalos and wasting everyone's time. Then he swoops down below to attack you. But you can cut the animation short and skip the attack entirely by just leaving the area for a few seconds. And that's pretty much it for long range. He literally just spams glide attacks and occasionally does a World Tour. But before we move on to an example of a real hunt using all these tricks, let me just mention the moves that he can do in all three of these ranges: his walk in place and his taunt. These two are pretty much free openings and you can easily punish the weak spots because he's not moving much. But I bring them up here in this positioning guide because I want to remind you that if you get blinded by greed and end up in his face when the animation ends, you're likely to get greeted by an Insta-Charge. Now, let's use all the tricks we learned to bully this poor Yian Kut-Ku. And now you have full control over Yian Kut-Ku. Thanks for watching, and if you want to bully more monsters, check out this next video.